In today's video, we add Shadow of the TombRaider to my list of 100% completed platinums. This is the third TombRaider game I've uploaded, so if you need to refresh yourself on Lara's story up to this point, be sure to go ahead and watch those before this video. Shadow has a grand total of 100 trophies, and for once, no multiplayer trophies. Like in my previous video, I have split this platinum up into two stages. Stage 1 is grabbing all of the 378 collectibles and completing the 17 challenge tombs on the hardest difficulty, Deadly Obsession. And stage 2 will be completing each of the 17 levels in score attack and time attack. Let's jump right into the video. Our journey begins during a plane crash with Lara and Jonah, but in typical TombRaider fashion, we jump to 2 days earlier where we find Lara trapped in a cave in the depths of Cozumel, an island off the coast of Mexico. We're introduced to the newest game mechanic of inverted climbing, and the less said about this game's parkour, the better. We reach a monolith and find that our boy Jonah is already here. As the game is set in 2018, Lara decides that she needs to take a few snaps for the gram before leaving, but inadvertently triggers a pressure plate, which causes an explosion as the whole place begins to collapse. Back in town, Lara devises a plan on how to take Trinity down once and for all, and as we leave the cutscene, we're able to grab the first trophy of the game, Path of the Stars. We need to find the reason that Trinity is here. After saving a local archaeologist from the two Trinity scumbags, we learn that there's an undiscovered temple in Cozumel, and that is something that Lara cannot resist. After solving the puzzle leading to the temple, we find a ceremonial dagger. The murals on the surrounding walls depict a tsunami, an earthquake, a storm, and a volcanic eruption. Clearly, Lara does not believe in bad juju, and she grabs the dagger as the place begins to collapse. We gotta roll, sister. We grab the second trophy of the game as we begin our escape back to the surface. Back on the outskirts of town, we are faced with a Trinity camp. We're able to grab Look over there for killing 3 enemies while they're distracted. We eventually make our way through the outpost, but run into Trinity's leader, Dr. Dominguez, as he steals the dagger from us. Dominguez tells us that the dagger is meaningless without the silver box of East Shell, and claims that without the box, we have begun the end of the world. This is a heavy accusation to make, but it's hard to argue considering in the 20 minutes since Lara stole the dagger, there's already been an earthquake, and with that, a flood sweeps through the streets of Cozumel. We grab Recipe for Disaster for surviving the tsunami as we jump back to the present day. As we fly over the Peruvian jungle, Jonah is still pissed at Lara for taking the dagger and causing the apocalypse.
I don't want to talk to anybody!
It doesn't take them too long to find the mountains that they were looking for, but as we already know from the prologue, this plane journey doesn't end too well. The pilot is knocked unconscious by a ball of ice, and Lara tries her best to level the plane, only for it to rip in half, separating the two friends. Lara wakes up in the rainforest canopy alone. Making our way through the jungle, we come to our first base camp, and we get our next trophy, First Steps, for purchasing our first skill. We manage to get our gear back before heading deeper into the jungle to search for any other survivors. After a bit of time searching, we manage to catch up with Jonah, and now our next task will be to search for some sign of life in the jungle. Before we can get too far though, we unknowingly enter Jaguar country. We have had our fair share of run-ins with big cats recently.
Oh shit,
Now we are forced to fight against the Emperor Jaguar. This cat was a little bit more tanky than the ones of Rise of the TombRaider, but after taking it down, we earned survival instincts. As morning breaks, we happen upon the village of Kuwak Yaku. In this village, we are introduced to Abby, who Jonah instantly takes a liking to, leaving Lara feeling like a third wheel. Abby tells us that there are some ruins nearby with similar symbols to the Instagram photos Lara took in Cozumel, which may be able to help our search, so that is where we're off to next. As we enter the ruins, Lara spots a hole in the wall and the writing mentions Ixchel, causing her to start vandalising the place. Heading deeper into the ruins, we find that Trinity is already here. This means we're able to grab a few of the game's combat-based trophies. With Shadow, as the game goes on, enemies are harder to kill, and once you have completed the game, enemies do not respawn. This means we must use every opportunity to grab the trophies as soon as possible to avoid having to do another playthrough. The first trophy we get is Last Known Position, which is earned for losing the enemy 10 times. Then shortly after, Chain Gang for performing 3 double takedowns on enemies, Gunslinger for 3 headshots in as many seconds, and finally First Blood for a stealth takedown from a wall covered in mud. After learning the secrets inside of the temple and popping the Fire of Life trophy, we must head back to the village and begin looking for the trials mentioned in the murals. Before we can reunite with Jonah and Abby though, we use our newly acquired skill Eagle's Talon to earn our next trophy, which is Surprise, as well as Marksman for 20 headshots with the bow. Now that we have a haul of trophies under our belt, we make our way back to Jonah and Abby, who are still in the temple. We enter the Jaguar's mouth, as mentioned on the murals, but we're instantly separated again. We were able to parkour our way through the trial of the spider and complete it much quicker than the people who made the trial would have expected. And then it was on to the trial of the eagle. This trial was a little bit trickier. You have to dodge the various obstacles and time your jumps perfectly to reach the top of the tower. Luckily, there's a base camp to save your progress just before you begin, but after only one failure, we reach the top. We trek through the jungle once again and find a clearing with a series of native-looking huts. In the clearing, we're also introduced to Etzli. He is stuck in a trap and we must defend him from the oncoming soldiers. Etzli leads us back to his camp. We meet his mother, Unuratu, and Uchu, her bodyguard. It turns out Unuratu is the rightful queen of Paititi, the hidden city that we've been searching for. Unuratu is also looking for the silver box of his shell, so we quickly form an alliance. For discovering Paititi, we are awarded the trophy, the Hidden City. Unuratu leads us through the streets of Paititi, but I get distracted petting the llamas that can be found around the Hidden City. There is a reason for this though. After petting 5 llamas, a trophy unlocks. I also hit up the local merchant and buy an item to earn the asking price trophy. Meeting back up with the natives, we observe an altercation in the market square. The challenger to Unuratu's throne is being paraded through the street, but he looks a little familiar. It is none other than Dr. Dominguez.
Son of a bitch!
Dominguez was actually born in Paititi, but was later raised by Trinity after losing his brother. Dominguez's brother, also Unuratu's husband, was king at the time of his passing, and now Dominguez is looking to become king himself. With this in mind, there is no way that we can allow Dominguez, or Amaru, as he's locally known, to become king. We meet Etzli at the entrance to the mountain and head inside. We are here to find the resting place of the silver box, which is rumoured to be inside. We head in, do some parkour, climb over some dead bodies, fail a puzzle, solve that same puzzle, and discover a metal head of the serpent before heading back to the city. Upon our return, Etzli is captured by the serpent guard, but we manage to make a break for it and run through the streets of Paititi. This did feel a little familiar though. We eventually are rugby tackled through a wall, which leads to a 30-foot fall that Lara survives with the power of plot armour. We head back to Unuratu to tell her that I'm the worst babysitter in the world, but word travels fast and she already knows. We show her the artefact, but now we must head to the mountain temple to break Etzli out of jail. After more free running, we are greeted by more serpent guard. We murder a few of the guards that are in our way and we arrive at ceramic jars. I know that from PSN profiles this is an excellent place to pick up any remaining combat trophies. We are able to grab Tables Turned for killing 5 enemies while they're searching for Lara, Like a Shadow for 25 stealth takedown kills, and Sixth Sense for killing 10 enemies while Perception is active. We scale the walls of Etzli's maximum security prison cell and use the serpent key to unlock his cell, only to be jumped by the guards, and Unuratu is now taken prisoner.
Fucking brilliant!
With Unuratu captured, we head back to Paititi to tell Uchu that I'm the worst bodyguard in the world, but we get a little lost on our way back and arrive in the Cenote. We perform what has to be about a 100-foot jump from the cliffs into a body of water. Luckily, Lara's plot armour kicks in again. For any normal person, hitting the water at that speed would be like hitting concrete. Heading into the crumbling remains, we are greeted by a series of traps and we have to perform even more parkour. We do manage to find a shotgun as we make our way through the cave system, and arrive at a massive door which depicts Ixchel and Shackshell protecting the silver box. Surely what we're looking for must be in here. There's a couple of puzzles we have to solve before proceeding. The first is just a matter of rotating certain beams to re-establish the waterways. The first of the 2 doors open as we complete the puzzle. The second is pretty similar, but first we must raise the water level so that we can destroy the constraints of one of the beams. After doing that, we re-establish the second waterway and open the other door. Once we head inside, we are introduced to the inhabitants of the mountain. These creatures look like they're straight out of the Descent. They are called the Yaxil, and they're an ancient order of people sworn to protect the silver box. The murals on the wall confirm this, and the Yaxil refuse to enter the door as it closes behind us. We then discover that where the box should be is empty. An earthquake foreshot reopens the door, and the Yaxil look pissed. We look guilty, and they chase us out of the Cenote. We do manage to escape, and we unlock the Underworld trophy for our troubles. As we reach a somewhat safe area, we pick up a dead climber's gear. This enables us to climb up inverted walls, and as I mentioned earlier, the less said about this, the better. After scaling the cliff, we unlock the New Heights trophy. Making it back to Paititi, we find the gang held up in a cave, and we make our second prison break plan, but this time to break Unuratu out of her prison cell. She's being kept in the Temple District, and we're given a Serpent Guard outfit to blend in because we'll be going undercover again. Before heading to the Temple District, we have advanced far enough in the story and collected enough currency to allow us to pick up a couple more of the Misk trophies. We grab Makeshift Arsenal for fully upgrading our assault rifle, and Untold Riches for gathering 40 pieces of gold ore. We head up to the Temple District in our new disguise. I'm not really sure how we were not made, because the rest of the guard all seem to be male and at least 6 foot. But oh well. We catch up with Etzli and he gives us the password to gain entry to the lower levels. But since we're in our Michael Schofield arc right now, we complete a side mission and break Hakan out of death row. He gives us his wife's knife, and we unlock That's a Knife, and for completing the mission itself, we earn the I Believe Hakan Flyer trophy. Now back to business. We use the passphrase at the opening to the temple and head down. We witness Amaru speaking to Unuratu. Basically, Amaru wants to find the silver box to protect Paititi from discovery and its destruction, but Unuratu does not agree that that's the way to go about it. So he orders her back to her prison cell. We have to parkour our way across the rocks to find her cell, and eventually find her. The two discuss what Lara had learned from the Cenote, and we grab the Family Ties trophy. Our next step is to reach the Tomb of the Emperor in hopes of finding more clues on the location of the silver box. All we can find is a message left by an Andreas Lopez claiming that the heart of the serpent is in a cup, whatever that means.
I don't know.
We're attacked by the Serpent Guard and Unuratu is killed. We grab In the Moment for 10 kills while focus is active as we fight our way out of the ambush. Jonah is waiting for us on a boat and we tell Etzli of his mother's passing. Now we're looking for a Christian burial site to hopefully find the silver box of his shell once and for all. While heading down the river, Lara and Jonah are attacked by Trinity. The helicopter destroys their boat and separates them. We surface on the riverbank with only our knife. Right now, the silver box can wait. We need to regroup with Jonah. This part of the game is heavily built on your stealth skills, something I couldn't really be bothered for. I did try for a while, but waiting around for the right moment to take someone out was not doing it for me. So I decided to see how far I could get with just melee attacks. I was aware that I still had 3 combat trophies remaining, and after getting through the first section, we light a Molotov and toss it, simultaneously burning 2 enemies at the same time and earning the Playing with Fire trophy. After saving our progress at base camp, Commander Rourke tells us that he's holding Jonah prisoner at the oil refinery, so that is where we're headed next. We run into Trinity forces once again. They have upgraded their gear and are now equipped with infrared goggles, which means hiding in the bush is basically useless. However, we are able to grab one of the last combat-based trophies in the game, Made to Endure, for performing 10 takedowns while endurance is active. On our way to the oil refinery, we find an ancient bow. We are able to learn the Jaguar's Fear skill, which gives us the ability to create poison arrows that cause enemies to lose their minds and turn on each other. This was the last combat trophy we needed, and I spared no time in getting this one out of the way. After 5 enemies turn on each other, we unlock the Total Party Kill trophy. Back on the path to rescue Jonah, Rourke tells us over the radio that he's been killed, which sends Lara into a rage. We approach the refinery, but we're jumped by a Trinity ATV. They open fire on us, and we're forced to zipline away. We then have to parkour away from the oncoming bullet storm and end up escaping by jumping into the water. Then Lara has her aura moment.
Aura.
We pick up an assault rifle and go absolutely crazy on the Trinity army, slaying each and every soldier that we lay our eyes on, like we're SAS trained. After killing the majority of Trinity's ground forces, even the helicopter can get some. After we blow up the chopper, Lara has a bit of a breakdown, but Jonah magically arrives and he's not dead. The two catch up and restart their search for the silver box. We grab a trophy as soon as we arrive at the mission of St. Juan. Abby has told us about this place, and this is where all of the clues that we've learned up to this point has led us. We meet Jonah at the entrance to the church and search for anything that could help us. We discover a mural of a sun and a heron, just like Unuratu's tattoo. Breaking the wall down, Jonah is able to translate, and we are now looking for a cross. The cross is only on the other side of the room, and we place it back on the handles, which opens a secret room. Down below, we find the resting place of Andreas Lopez. We finally find the silver box, but the dead man's curse causes the floor to fall out from beneath us. Submerged, we get a double trophy pop, Archaeologist for completing an artifact collection, and the Chosen One for discovering the silver box of his shell. Once we finally resurface, we find Amaru with a gun to Jonah's head. Not wanting to lose him for a second time in 2 days, Lara hands over the artifact to the Trinity leader.
I am him!
Maybe Jonah has the biggest balls on the planet, but despite being around armed guards, he rushes Amaru, stealing the box back and legging it off into the jungle. We face Trinity reinforcements descending from the helicopter. They're not too hard to take out, and we make a run for the helicopter to try and get Jonah.
This is Sparta!
We check that Jonah is okay, but Trinity's already stolen the artefact. Before we can even gather our thoughts, a volcanic eruption causes a landslide and we must sprint to safety. This is the third cataclysm since we stole the dagger, so maybe Amaru is right. If this really does mean the end of the world, we have to get that silver box back ASAP. But that can probably wait. We return to Paititi and grab back to where we started. Now I'm actually going to pause stage 1 of the guide here and jump straight to stage 2. At this point in the story, we have unlocked all playable areas. This means we can complete all the DLC challenge tombs and the score and time attacks and tick them off the list. First up is the pillar. All the DLC and Shadow work in a similar way. You start a side quest, complete the challenge tomb, turn in the side quest, and then you're awarded an outfit and a weapon, which you must equip, and that is the in-game trophies done. I figured that since I had just completed the tomb, the best time to do a speed run and a collection run was straight after. So I left the game and completed the score and time attacks for the level and got the DLC 100% complete. To me, these stories were not that interesting, sorry Square Enix, and if you've watched my video on Rise of the Tomb Raiders Platinum, you'll know that I'm a big hater of score and time attack levels, so I'll just burn through these trophies pretty quickly. After the pillar, we went for Lara's Nightmare. The tomb itself was actually a little tricky because you had to time your jumps or be reset. This was even more of a pain when you were against the clock. Then it was into Serpent's Heart. The only saving grace is you're not required to get a gold medal on the score or the time attack levels to pop the trophies. Just a minimum of bronze will do, which is better than having to get gold like in Rise. The Forge, the Price for Survival and the Path Home were all not really too bad. I did each tomb 3 times in total and back to back to back. So after the second run, I was able to learn the timings of everything, which made it a bit easier. I left probably my favourite tomb for last. The Grand Cayman's tomb involved pulling switches to turn off fire and then running as fast as you can to the next save point. After just about clinching gold with 6 seconds to spare, we earn Zip It, and that is all of the DLC trophies out of the way. Now that we have 100% completed all of the DLC trophies, we have completed stage 2 of this platinum. Now it was time to clean up the rest of the map before heading to the final mission of the game. First off, we grabbed treasures from the past for deciphering a monolith, on the go for crafting 50 pieces of special ammunition, better equipped for getting 3 pieces of equipment, resting places for uncovering the secrets in 3 crypts, and Thanksgiving for shooting a turkey with a flame round. We did also do some side questing. We retrieved Manco's necklace for hearts and minds, and Beast of Legend for defeating Nanahu and crowning Etzli as king. With those out of the way, I focused on the actual collectibles, which there's a ton in this game. We firstly collected 5 underwater artifacts, earning Underwater Archaeologist, Specialised for earning all skills in 1 category, Treasure Hunter for unlocking all Conquistador chests, and TombRaider for all challenge tombs completed. For Dr. Croft, I had to reload the game, but the trophy pops for all artefacts collected. I told an old man the story of my adventures through the tombs, and finally, completionist for 100% completion is unlocked. This now means we can continue with the main storyline. We catch up with the rebel crew as we plot the end to Trinity and how we're going to get the silver box back. It is decided that we will tack on 2 fronts. We will be acting as a sniper as the main forces of Paititi advance on the ritual that Amaru will be doing. We head off to our vantage point, only to run into the Yak Seal. This time, they are much more receptive to our presence. The leader, who is also known as the Crimson Fire, hands us a mask and the creatures bow down. We earn Queen of the Damned for befriending the Yaxil, and they allow us to pass through. We work together as we engage Trinity, attacking them on all fronts. Rourke is overrun by the Yaxil, allowing us to proceed even further to the ritual site. Up to this point, Deadly Obsession has not been too difficult. However, the main thing to remember with this difficulty is that your progress is only saved at base camps. To reach the ritual, we have to make this jump from an axe climb to an inverted climbing wall. When I told you earlier that the less said about this game's parkour the better, this is what I meant. I could not do this. Every time, my axe would miss and I would fall to my death. And each time, I respawned at my last checkpoint, which was back in Paititi before the attack plan cutscene. I died again and again and again. Eventually though,
yes! Finally!
the ritual had already begun as we arrive. There are 3 structures that we have to destroy to stop Amaru. After all 3 are destroyed, he is able to be attacked. After the ordeal of getting here in the first place, I was just done. I unloaded clip after clip after clip after clip into him until eventually he went down.
Yes! Stab him!
We are rewarded by an absolute downpour of trophies, quite the adventure, rite of passage, smart and resourceful, one with the jungle, Deadly Obsession, and with stage 1 now. Chalice of Torment, the Platinum Trophy. Thankfully, this means that we have now platinumed all 3 of the Tomb Raider Origin Story games. I do not want to see LaraCroft's face for a very, very long time. However, if you can get this video to 1,000 likes, I will put myself through the platinum for the recently remastered Tomb Raider Legend. In my next video, we'll be switching genres to one of my all-time favourite first-person shooters. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and if there's any games you'd like me to try out, drop your suggestions in the comment section down below.